Oh, Judy, what do you got there?
It's a jewel box and it's all mine.
Well, we've got a jewel box for everybody next on Garden Time. Welcome to Garden Time, and you know Judy and I have a jewel box full of plants.
And later in the show, I'll be talking with Thomas about a jewel box event happening this weekend.
Also coming up on the show today, we will be taking you out to Swan Island Dahlias.
But coming up first, we'll be with Jan McNeilan for the Tips of the Month. Well, we have lots to talk about with Jan McNeilan. We're out in her raised beds. They look really great this year. I love them.
They do. That new soil really helped a lot, and it's been a perfect summer for most things.
It has been, and so now it's the getting to be the end of August. What are we doing?
Well, I'm going to plant some red clover here as the cover crop. I always say I'm going to do it, and then it doesn't happen. So I have some red clover seeds. It's very, very fine seed. Mm-hmm. So when you put it in, you just barely want to cover it at all. It needs light, and then keep it moist and wait till it germinates, and you've got a nitrogen fixing plant. It'll put more nitrogen in your soil.
And really, this is the time to do it. I think people think about it like in October, and really it's getting late for it to get germinated, so this is really a good time to start.
Right, and because it'll start growing and fill in and keep the weeds down and do a lot of other things. So I also have a mix of a bee
Look at
and
all
pollinator
of them. Yeah.
mix, and it's just a package of seeds in one box. And there are pollinators all over this. They've been since they first started to flower. And you look at the kinds of flowers that are there are the tiny ones for the most part that smaller pollinators can get to, little tiny wasps and hoverflies and bees and bumblebees, and they're all over it. And it's kind of a rotating flower because some of them will die down and others are coming along here. So.
And it's really important to have along with your vegetables because sometimes there's just not enough flowers to bring a lot of pollinators to your veg garden.
Exactly.
And it makes it pretty.
Yeah, nice.
And then you have amazing tomatoes, but there's one tomato that's just not doing well. So what's that one?
No, the one right next to it is fine. The plant's dead or close to it, but I'm leaving the tomatoes hang on because they will ripen on the vine. Underneath that are mole runs. This year we've had more moles than ever, so there's a lot of air underneath that. Even though I've been poking the hose down into it, it's a lot of air. So I'll just let it sit, and I've been picking tomatoes off of it.
Hey,
so,
that's okay.
yeah, but it's a good tomato year for sure.
It is. And then I noticed your cucumbers. So we're talking about kind of things that are going on weird in the garden.
Well,
so why does that happen?
This is just inconsistent watering. So if the plant, zucchinis do it, cucumbers do it, other squash, summer squash, and then if you keep the soil evenly moist, you're going to have an evenly grown cucumber. But at this point, that's why that happens.
And if they're bitter, is that a water issue too?
It can be, absolutely can be.
So
And
yeah,
sometimes you'll get them really bitter, like alum almost.
Yeah, and they're
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a water thing.
Right.
Okay.
And then there's another kind of oddity here at the end of the.
I saw that.
Now, this is the real name. It's called dog vomit slime mold.
Okay. And that's it.
And that's what it looks like too. It's in the ground there where this mulch is. It's very common. The colors are different. They can be gray, black, tan, red. Some of them look like literally pomegranate seeds that are, and it's just a mold that is just breaking down the chips and the mulch that we have here.
And so you just kind of turn it over or take it
it's
out?
not going to
or
hurt
whatever.
anything. You can just watch it. It'll dry and it'll almost be like powder. And it can get on plants too, but it doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of, yeah, there's always interesting things in nature.
Right.
And then you have a bounty of kale. So what are you doing with that?
I do. Today I'm going to pick it or cut it and make kale chips. And I want to do it before, this is the time of year where
Okay.
it starts to get powdery mildew
Yeah.
and starts to die back and have a lot of aphids. And so I'm going to cut it before that happens and make a bunch of kale chips.
Ah, and they're so easy to do.
They are,
Really
sure,
nice.
Sure.
So if you have a bounty of kale, you don't have to just use it for that fresh salad. I love kale chips. That's another great idea. Jan has a million ideas. Hope your garden is doing well. And Jan, we'll see you next month.
Okay.
Excellent.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature blooming advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
Why do the finest builders shop at Standard TV and Appliance?
I, as a builder, have been represented by Standard TV and Appliance for over 20 years. Standard TV and Appliance is that core vendor that makes a difference in my company. Standard TV and Appliance is a type of partner that any builder would be proud to have.
Standard can make your dream kitchen a reality, setting the standard since 1947. Standard TV and Appliance.
Well, what a great delight for me to be standing out here at Swan Island Dahlias. Now, we're going to be talking about the Swan Island Dahlia Festival that's happening. But first, Nick, I think a lot of us really are interested in the history of this place because it's become just a thing that you are in Portland, you think about Swan Island Dahlias.
Right, that's a confusion for us because the name Swan Island,
Right.
kind of everybody wants to go downtown, you know, to the docks or whatever.
To
in
the
Portland.
island because there's no water. There's some fountains or there's some sprinklers
Right.
going on, but
we
no
don't
rivers
have,
here.
We don't have an island out here, right? And originally the name came from Swan Island actually because in 1927 they started their business in Portland and they grew dahlias in the Selwood area.
Wow.
And then they had their offices on Swan Island, and I'm not sure if they grew any dahlias out there, but I know their offices were on Swan Island. So that's what they named themselves and became a mail order business from that at that time.
Wow. And then this wasn't you and your family that owned it back then.
No, it was actually the McCarter family, which was the family that my parents ended up purchasing the business from in the 1963.
And what did they do before purchasing this?
They were actually dairy farmers.
Really?
And growing dahlias as a hobby. And then the hobby got bigger and the hobby got bigger. And finally he put a sign up or whatever and sold dahlias along with, you know, doing the dairy farm work. And it was just a big hobby for him. But then the McCarter family decided they needed to retire. It was time to move, you know, on to a different style of life anyway. And their children didn't want to carry on with the dahlia business. So they kind of secretly went around and visited dahlia gardens and just to see if they could find somebody that was capable of buying the dahlia farm down here, because Dad probably had maybe 1,000 plants or 2,000 plants on an acre.
Wow.
Whereas these guys had
And
20.
this was just a hobby at that time for him.
Well, a small business, but a hobby
Right.
business. And then these guys had 20 acres, and of course Dad, being in the dahlias, knew about the Swan Island farm being the biggest in the U.S. And so anyway, they had dinner with him, and a few weeks later they got a letter in the mail saying, you know, we need to retire, we'd like to sell the business, would you be interested in buying the dahlia farm? And boy, he just lit up and said, I don't have to milk cows twice a day.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to sell the farm. And he packed all his kids up and moved the family down here in 1963.
Wow.
And I've been here basically ever since.
And you guys really have, I mean, I think I heard you say it was a 20-acre area,
At
right?
that time.
But you've expanded.
Yeah, it's almost 40 now.
Wow, wow. And still, you are the largest dahlia grower in the States. Is that true?
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Probably the craziest, yes.
And then you guys still, well, but that's what makes it fun coming out here. So then tell me all of the things that we're used to now, like, you know, the cut flower stuff and the tubers, all of that stuff. You still do all that because that was happening all along.
Right, it just kept
Expanded.
expanding. You know, when my daughters came back in the age of the internet and social medias and things, you know, it has just
Expanded. Out. Right.
you know.
Yeah, and so and you continue to expand because when you come out to the Dahlia Festival this year, you're going to see some super cool changes they made, which we think are just beautiful out here. But let's quickly tell me about the festival this year and what's going on.
Well, the festival is only 6 days. It's going to start this weekend.
And only Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Okay.
Even though Monday is not a holiday, we run it 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday this weekend, and Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
And so we set it up, and then we run it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, then we tear it all down Tuesday, and we reset it again next Friday to start on Saturday. And so there's like 15,000 blooms indoors, all professionally arranged by like 20 florists. We have live music, we have, 8 or 10 food vendors. We do culture talks on how to grow dahlias, how to arrange flowers,
right.
How to divide your tubers.
And a great gift shop.
And a gift shop, and it's all free. Free parking, free festival.
Wonderful. You mentioned that it's free, but there's something special that you're going to try to do this year. Tell me about that.
Well, this year kind of is an idea of actually Heather, my daughter, that since we don't charge for anything, we thought we'd try to help out the Canby community a little bit. So
Nice.
The Canby Center, we're asking if anybody that wants to is donate non-perishable foods, canned foods, and we have barrels set up for that. So it's just to help support our community. If you can
Right.
bring something out and donate to the cause, it'd be great.
Because you still have different schools come out. They help in all kinds of ways anyway. So you really pay attention to your community.
Local community, yeah.
Right,
We
right.
have different groups that are doing fundraisers, helping us with parking
Great.
this year and things, yeah.
Well, every year to so many of us that live in the Portland, Vancouver area, Swan Island Dahlias is kind of like our hello to fall, and we're seeing summer come to a close. And if you've never been here before, you must come out and see that. And if you have, make it a family tradition because you're never going to regret it. So for more information, as always, we'll invite you to go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to their website. Nick, my friend, what a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
There's a special kind of freedom that comes with an Oregon summer. Freedom to go with the flow or choose your own adventure. There's nothing better than creating the perfect day exactly the way you want it. That's why we only shop at Capital Subaru. At Capital, we choose how our time is spent, which means more freedom to live life our way.
There's never been a better time to save. Hurry into the Subaru A Lot to Love event and lease the new 2019 Subaru Outback 3.6R Limited, just $219 per month.
Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
The fields are in bloom and looking beautiful.
We welcome everyone to come visit us here at Swan Island Dahlias.
Stop by Swan Island Dahlias in Canby and stroll the 40 acres of blooms. And don't forget the Dahlia Festival the last weekend in August and Labor Day weekend. During the festival, you can see over 400 cut flower displays, enjoy specialty foods, and see flower arranging demonstrations.
Swan Island Dahlias is located in Canby,
just minutes south of Portland.
Come see us!
I am at Sebright Gardens today with Thomas, and Thomas, of course, you have a wonderful selection of plants, you always do. And you have from sun to shade, which is so good because all of our gardens usually incorporate all that kind of sunny and shade.
Right, yeah. No, we're predominantly known as a shade plant nursery, but we tend to like all plants. And so we thought we'd talk a little bit about a few sun plants today, and we got to start out with the hibiscus.
Oh, the hardy hibiscus, wow.
These are hardy hibiscus. Some people are just familiar with the tropicals,
right.
But these are actually hardy. And they will come up to about 6 feet tall, and this is their flower period.
Amazing.
Right now in late summer.
They love the heat, don't they?
They do love the heat. In fact, they're slow to come up in the spring because they like the warmer soil temperature.
And sometimes the flowers get, what, 8-9 inches across?
Yes, they can get massive, and we've got about 8 different varieties of them here for sale at the garden.
They're really nice, and they're in the display garden too, and you have to take time to walk around the display garden. It's just amazing. And then this one is another hibiscus.
Yeah, this is another hibiscus, another hardy one, or common name Rose of Sharon, and this is actually a shrub. It doesn't actually die to the ground each year, so it'll get probably maybe 10 feet tall, and it's nice for a small garden, and it blooms for a long time, and this time of the year is also its bloom period, and they come in different colors as well.
That's a pretty one. And then I see some shade plants down in the bottom there, some lungwort.
Right, yeah, we have the pulmonarias, which is really wonderful foliage on those, also for the shade. They flower very early in the spring, usually just as they're starting to get going in the spring. and then you've got this beautiful foliage the rest of the year.
Very nice. And then these, sometimes I think they don't even need flowers because the foliage is so pretty.
I totally agree. And these are heucherellas, and I love these even more than the heucheras because they don't seem to have any problems with disease, and they can grow in. They want to be in the shade,
Okay.
and they look wonderful. They're evergreen. They look wonderful in the wintertime too. They take on darker tones, but they're still very beautiful, and the little foamy flowers in the spring.
Very nice. And what is this shiny one? Wow.
This is a beesia. This is one of my very favorite shade plants because it never looks bad. It always looks good, and it doesn't look real. It looks like
It does look like plastic.
It looks like plastic, like you've bought it at Michael's or something. But it's a very nice plant, and it'll probably get to about 18 inches high, and it'll make a nice little colony in time.
And what about a flower?
It's the little tiny little white flower, not really significant, but the foliage looks great all the time. There's basically no maintenance to it.
Very nice. And of course you have a collection of ferns, and
Yeah.
probably as big as their hosta collection?
Yeah, we have a huge collection of hardy ferns, and you can't talk about shade without ferns. But we've got a new one here. This is the golden zebra, Coniogramme, and this one here is really spectacular.
Wow.
We are really enthralled with that one, and I've got it in the landscape. And then we've got, this is one of my very favorites also, this Cristata the King.
And why the cristata? Is it about the fronds?
Yeah, if you look on the fronds, you can see each one of the
Oh, that's neat.
all the crests up and down, all of it. And this fern will get to about 3 feet tall, and then it
Pretty.
arches out, so it's a very elegant fern. It looks great in a container or in the ground.
And then this one with the whitish silver,
Yes, this
that's
one
unusual.
This is the Cretian brake fern. This one here is somewhat marginally hardy here, but it does wonderfully in a container. And if it's going to drop down into the teens, if you got it outside, if you got it in a container, just pull it in and it'll be good.
Okay.
And it's a nice evergreen fern, or it can be grown as a houseplant.
Wow. And then we need to talk about hostas, because how many different houses do you have here?
Well, we're growing probably at lest 1,200 different varieties of hostas, but it's way too many, I suppose. But
No.
We have a big selection for sure. But we're talking today a little bit about ones that are more sun tolerant.
Okay.
And
Really?
we've pulled out varieties that are more sun tolerant. And when I say tolerant, I mean tolerant, not loving. They don't actually love the sun, but there's some that can tolerate it. And the fragrant varieties seem to be better with that. And this is one called Invincible. That's very fragrant flowers. Got a nice sweet scent.
And then, before we run out of time, we have to talk about what's happening today at the nursery.
Okay, yeah, today we've got a sale going on today. It's the Cascade Nursery Trail event. It's called the Jewel Box Sale. And there's 5 other specialty nurseries will be here. So it's like a one-stop shopping. You can come here. It's a free event, free parking.
Wow.
There's a food cart, there's wine tasting. So there's lots going on today. So come on by and enjoy the day.
And what are the times for that?
It's from 9 till 3.
So you need to finish watching the show, and then you can come on down, because I'm sorry, they have to watch the show before they come
I agree.
down.
I agree. Cool. So we hope to see everybody here.
And really, go to gardentime.tv, and you can click over to that website, and you get the directions, you get the time, and come out, and really you can go to so many different stores and get all kinds of plants for your garden. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Judy.
You know how much we enjoy working with Dram tools right here on Garden Time, and an example of that is this old hose. Just recently, look what happened when it was getting pulled around to water. And in summertime we water so much, so we wanted to give you some of the ideas from Dram that they've done to make things like this not happen. This little extension here is so handy because you just screw it onto your faucet, and a lot of times faucets are really close to the wall, so it's hard to even screw them on. This extends that, and then with this addition of the spring, it makes it so much more flexible, so you won't have to worry about this type of damage to your hoses.
And you know what else is a really good one are these quick releases. You only have to attach it once a season to your hose. So you put the one end on here, and then you take the other end and put it on the other part of the hose, and then all you have to do is push it in and make sure that it's connected, and there you go. And it's really less strain on your hand, and especially as you get older, you don't have to keep on putting it on, taking it off. Comes in this brass model and then a lighter weight metal.
So for all the great ideas that Dram gives us to help making watering our gardens easier, just go to their website, and you can find that by going to gardentime.tv.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Hi, I'm Sarah with Portland Nursery, and I'd like to invite you to check out our website where you'll find valuable gardening information that you know is local to our area. Check out our Gardening Solutions page where you'll find over 100 helpful brochures, or sign up for our email newsletter to receive timely gardening advice, inventory updates, and upcoming classes and events. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people, on 50th and Stark, 90th and Division.
Stop and smell a rose, hear a child laugh, see the beauty that is Oregon. You will find all this and more at the Oregon Garden in historic Silverton. 400-year-old oaks, edible landscapes, a children's garden. The Oregon Garden has something for everyone. You can ensure the garden remains a jewel in the Mid-Willamette Valley through your support as an individual, family, or corporate member. Support the garden that showcases the diverse botanical beauty of our state, the Oregon Garden.
A destination farm and garden market featuring the very best each season has to offer. Smith Berry Barn offers seasonal farm fresh fruits and vegetables and specialty herbs and perennials. Visit the historic barn for distinctive gifts, gourmet foods, and homemade milkshakes. Right now we have fresh picked or pick your own berries ready in our fields. Here's what we have to offer this week. Centrally located off of Shoals Ferry Road between Sherwood and Hillsboro, Smith Berry Barn, growing good taste from the ground up.
The fields are in bloom and looking beautiful.
We welcome everyone to come visit us here at Swan Island Dahlias.
Stop by Swan Island Dahlias in Canby and stroll the 40 acres of blooms. And don't forget the Dahlia Festival the last weekend in August and Labor Day weekend. During the festival, you can see over 400 cut flower displays, enjoy specialty foods, and see flower arranging demonstrations.
Swan Island Dahlias is located in Canby,
just minutes south of Portland.
Come see us!
So I am standing up at Fernhill Reservoirs, and we're going to be talking about water today, and I'm here with Tacey Steele, right?
That's
so
right.
Tacey, what is it that you do here?
Well, I work for the City Hillsborough Water Department, which also manages the Joint Water Commission and oversees water delivery and water treatment, water transmission for about 365,000 plus people who live and work in Washington County.
Because the view is stunning up here. It's really beautiful, but those are the people, the residents, both in cities and rural people, that get the water from this reservoir, correct?
That's right. The water comes up here and then is served via pipeline, via gravity fed, down to Hillsborough, Beaverton, Aloha area.
Wow.
And yeah, pretty much all those areas.
Well, and the reason we wanted to talk about it is because we, as gardeners, we know that a lot of water is used more in the summertime because of our gardens and our yards and stuff. We get that. But tell me, what is a concept of how much more? Like, is it twice as much? Is it, how does that work?
Most of the time in the summer, people tend to use 2 to 3 times more water than they do in the winter. And when you think in terms of building infrastructure to serve people,
right,
you have to make sure that the pipes you build and the ability to treat water and the reservoirs are sized to serve summer water, not just winter water.
Yeah, because that would make sense. If you just plan for the winter, then that's really going to make everything much more difficult in the summer.
Yes, that's right.
And then what is it that you think, when you think about the water usage in the summertime, is it something that is shocking to you guys? Have you planned? You are aware of what's happening?
We know what's on in the summertime. Out here at the Joint Water Commission, we also mostly use a river in the wintertime, and then that river tends to drop in the summertime, and so we had to plan where are we going to get our water from in the summertime when the demands are up and the supply comes down. So we actually, back in the 60s, early 70s, built 2 reservoirs that capture water in the winter and then send water down the river, which is then treated and put up here on Fern Hill for use in the summertime.
So even in a place like the Pacific Northwest where we are very safe with water, we really have to be concerned, you guys do, about the winter rains, the snowfall. All of that makes a difference.
We love it when the rain comes in the winter, and we want to capture as much of that as we can and get our reservoirs filled nice and high. And Then after that, we know we're good to go for summertime, but we are constantly, the Washington County is growing, so we're always thinking out toward the future about the next 50 years. Our treatment plant, we've done several expansions. We're about to wrap another one up right now, up to 85 million gallons a year, and that again, that's just to serve Western Washington County.
This one here. So what we're going to do now is go over and we're going to see a couple of these reservoirs and see how massive they are. Let's walk over here now.
All right.
Okay, now, Tacey, these are actual reservoirs. How much water is in each one of these?
So each of these reservoirs here hold 20 million gallons. So to give you an idea, in the wintertime, we use about one, maybe 1.5 a day. And in the summertime, like this past weekend, we actually used what would be the equivalent of 3 of these.
Wow. Wow.
So close to 60 million gallons because we almost hit 90 degrees this past weekend.
Right. And then what is it that people can do to get more information? Because there's a lot of information that we can all interact with that helps us, you know, use water wisely. So what can we do? Where can we go to get more?
Well, like most people realize, they don't know about the infrastructure. A lot of people don't even know who their water provider is or where their water is coming from. And so we've worked together as a region, the Regional Water Providers Consortium, to provide some of that information where people can go to kind of a one-stop shopping to find out more about their local water and then water as a region, and that is regionalh2o.org is where people can go and look at our region's water. Has a lot of good information. It talks in terms of water supply as a region, and then also you can focus in on your own water provider and what they're doing. There's a lot of water efficiency tips there if you want to help not be draining these tanks quite so fast this time of year.
Wonderful.
There's a efficient plant guide there if you want an idea of plants that use
So
maybe
a
a
lot
little less
of
water.
information.
There's a ton of information there, more information than probably most people can use. But gosh, if they can find 1 or 2 things,
that helps.
Apply it to their lifestyle. They really and just get educated on what water is.
Usage.
Yeah, water
Well,
usage.
you know, at Garden Time, we are so impassioned to using things wisely, especially our water. So for more information, as always, we will invite you to go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over, start gathering up that information for your own special home and garden. Thank you so much, Stacey.
Oh, thank you for having me.
William and I want to thank you for watching today, and don't forget that the Jewel Box event at Sebright Gardens near Brooks is happening today.
And as always, to find more information out on this wonderful event and all the great things that are happening around us, you can always go to gardentime.tv.
We thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next week here on Garden Time.
$1,112, $1,113.
William, what are you counting?
I'm counting all of our wonderful friends on Facebook.
And we invite everyone to go to Facebook and like us and follow us.
All you have to do is go to gardentime.tv and hit the Facebook icon, which is in the top right-hand corner.
It's the best place to get the most updated information on Garden Time.
So all you have to do is click us and like us.
The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.